Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. 2019 is just here. And you know what? You remember what happened post-2015, where what has become perhaps law and sacrosanct for our electoral process, the card reader fell flat on its face in the courtroom, where there were a lot of governors or a lot of senators, a whole lot of these guys whose positions were determined in the courtroom. Should we determine who becomes our leader in the courtroom in the first place? Okay, that's the issue we are talking about. I guess that's what you're talking about. Quickly, my guests and my panel tonight will try to wrap up on this matter before we move to the issue of the subsidy payment on PMS. Now, you were going to say, and I want to quickly wrap it up so that we can get into the issue of subsidy.
I was saying that, there are cases where judges can distinguish, cases. But in a situation where you have similar parties and all they are litigating is about positions, I think there should be a mechanism for consolidating. We've seen fantastic judges that will look at cases, and once there's an application before them that there is a sister matter, they take time out to look at those matters and then reassign such files to the chief judge for consolidation. And I will also suggest
that the Nigerian judicial system should computerize, should digitize.
Yes,
such that you can easily call up.
It becomes easy for the administrative judge to be able to look at cases, call them up, and then know what to assign. And then lastly, there is no way you can rule out corruption in the judiciary, in all of this. It will definitely play a major role in the way they are appointed also. Now you find cases where lawyers will say, I gave judge money for his daughter's birthday or for his daughter's wedding. All of this has a way.
There are cases like that in court right now.
All of these have a way of also influencing the mind of the judge.
Quickly, Dr. Awuson, the card reader had a tough time. It couldn't stand the test of time in the courtroom after 2015 election. And that was a major, it was in the spine of the 2015 elections. And the CJN was telling the INEC boss that, look, fix all of these amendments early enough so that we know. Do you see the amendment being finalized on time before the 2019 election?
Well, if one will go by past experiences, I very much doubt it. And I think the safest thing for us to do is to minimize involvement of machines. Because, for instance, look, apart from the problem of weather, there are cases where you cannot get a battery, you cannot charge the battery. If the battery runs down, you cannot charge it.
To hire
and you have to be hiring generators here and there. Peradventure, the generator itself will refuse to function. So I think we should cut our experiment in accordance to our infrastructure.
When a lot of people across the world are talking about electronic voting.
Yes, we will get there. We will get there. But we must be courageous enough to know what we are capable of doing now. You are talking about projection.
Really, to add to what Doctor has said, you need to look at the way political parties also conduct primaries. The way they nominate candidates, and then the desperation. That's the foundation of these cases you have in courts. And those ones can go as far as the Supreme Court, even while the tenure of the man that has been elected is already running. And then also, we're talking about electronic voting. And 1 year to election, we are not even test running anything. And so you have a fire brigade approach towards the election, and at the end of the day, on the day of election, you roll out these cards, they're failing, the voting machines are failing, and there should be a process to test run most of these machines.
They're test running,
and then also, if you're going to use internet,
because
when you have staggered election, you have a pool of almost all your staff in one state. And then also, you find out that most of these, if you're going to use internet because now they're saying that they are going to have a central database where, as you're accrediting, all the informations are being sent to the central database. How stable is your internet facilities? Okay. So all of these are things you need to work out before the election, so that on the day of election, you don't have that same crisis that you had in 2015. And then you need to also work out the laws, finally, to ensure that everything you're going to do is spelled out in your electoral act.
Let's quickly talk about it. It's going to be very fast, though, because we're out of time. On the issue of subsidy, the Minister of State for Petroleum is being summoned over what been alleged as payment of subsidy. We do understand that this government has said it won't pay subsidy, but it looks like subsidies are being paid. Dr. Awoson, when the minister faces the lawmakers, what do you think can happen? Is it possible that the federal government could be paying subsidy without passing approval from the National Assembly?
Well, I mean, exactly that's the situation. Because we've been told that it's NNPC. What's NNPC? NNPC is a government agency. So it's not that the Baru, it's not that it's using its personal money to pay it. It is clear that we have already started paying the subsidy. I think like everything about this government, it's just confusion. You know, the government whose party itself is in confusion cannot.
What do you mean by the government?
I mean, this is a party that cannot hold ordinary meeting.
What do you mean by ordinary meeting?
Ordinary. I'm not even talking of convention. I'm talking of meeting of elders, meeting of elder board, meeting of board of. They can't even consume board of trustee. You know, you can't hand over government in the hands of political party that is not stable. The government will not be stable, and that is what we are experiencing right now. This is not politics. It is not. The no I'm saying to APC is not a yes to PDP. You get the point now. Even the strength in PDP has been hijacked by some rascals. You get the point. So we are really in a very deep problem. I think we are paying subsidy. I think it's a confusion that is governed as a government as a result of confusion in the political arrangement. That is not...
Legally speaking, what is the implication of subsidies being paid without approval of the National Assembly?
Let's not try to window dress it. If this government, when they came on board, told the Nigerians that they don't... the President categorically said that he knows nothing about subsidy, and that when the price of petroleum products were increased, government said that it was going to drive down prices. And I wonder then, because how do you cap the price of a product you're importing that dependent on forests, and then you expect that it will drive down price? And so, but unfortunately, the chicken finally came home to roost when in December, the minister and the NNPC GMD admitted that the cost of landing was not below 145, but 170.
Difference, yeah.
And so that they have been paying that differential, because also NNPC have been the one solely importing. And so what it means is that, look, marketers can import, and so the NNPC will import and sell at, a reduced price, a deficit. And so NNPC had been running on deficit, even though you don't give out cash, like the previous government was doing. And so there's need for us as a people to truly look into what actually happened. If this organization, if we run at a deficit, because if we run the country at a deficit.
Because we need to go now. My question is that if anybody is paying subsidy as against what the law provides in...
That's what I'm saying. It's grave. It's grave. It's grave. So that's why the National Assembly should not gloss over it. And I also urge Nigerians, it's not something which, it shouldn't be just like the usual thing. We laugh over it and then we wait. Nigerians should learn to take their country back. And by so doing, it is when you monitor issues like this, the National Assembly shouldn't gloss over it, and at the end of the day, get to the root of the matter, and if people are found culpable, bring them to book.
All right,
but we don't have that ability to bring people to book, and so that's why
I hope
you investigate this one to the next election, and then you get to the next election.
I hope we get to the root of the matter, but that's how far we can go on the program today. Dr. Olusoye Awoson, many thanks for your time on the program today, and Mr. Liberazo Shoma, regular analyst on the program. That's our show tonight, everyone. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Okimbaloye. Bye for now.